Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome once again Oliver Velez, Chief Trading Officer and CEO of iFund Traders. Oliver Velez, the inaugural keynote speaker of the first Traders Expo, international best-selling author, world-renowned trader, and entrepreneur, is one of the world's most respected and celebrated traders of all time. In 1999, Dow Jones dubbed him the Messiah of trading. Today in 2020, he continues to be defined as one of the most influential leaders of his generation, but that should be in 2021 now.
That's right.
Oliver, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for having me once again. And once again, audience, thank you for your continuous support here. Thank you for all of those who follow me on my YouTube channel and other social media networks. And thank you for your loyalty here whenever I show up for the Money Show. If you're experiencing any one of my talks for the very first time here at the International Money Show, I want to say welcome, and I hope I live up to your expectations to provide you with something that I believe that might be able to benefit you not only this year, but many years in the future. Now, today's talk is going to be on Bitcoin, and I'm sure many of you realize that Bitcoin has been in the news and for the most part, the top of the news for the last several months, if not longer. And it should be. It is the best performing asset of last year, the best performing asset of the last month, the best performing asset of the last quarter, the best performing asset of the past year, the past 10 years. It is actually the best performing asset of all time. And that's something we'll talk about in greater detail as we move forward. But more specifically, traders, I want to talk to you and potentially convince you why I believe Bitcoin will hit $220,000 per coin within a year. That is within a year or slightly more than a year from today's date. Now, at current prices, Bitcoin today is trading roughly $58,000 a coin, which means that we are not late, in my opinion, but relatively early as far as its potential performance in the next 12 to 14, maybe 15 months or so. And so I'd like to talk about that today. Now, before I actually delve deeply into the material, for the benefit of those who do not know who they're speaking to or who they're watching, my name is Oliver Velez. I've been in this industry for a very long time, guys. I've been trading the markets for 40 years. 34 of those years professionally. I was a Wall Street professional for 8.5 years. A very illustrious career. I took a very big step after 8.5 years on the street to start my own professional advisory firm. That advisory firm became one of the largest advisory firms for professional traders in the entire world back in the 1990s. And for 12 years, I specifically taught traders and I consulted with firms on Wall Street. And that was a very successful move as well. Barron's ranked me number one in America in 1998. The Dow Jones Industrial Average called me the messiah of trading in 1999. This organization, the International Money Show, invited me to be the inaugural keynote speaker for the very first industry event in this business, not only for the first year but the second year as well. I am also the best-selling author of five books on the topic of trading markets for a living. Those five books are in five different languages and continue to be the best-selling trading books on the market throughout the world. Today, I have over 10,000 traders in over 96 different countries whom I train, guide, consult with, and a percentage of those traders I also personally fund for their day-to-day trading activity in the markets. I continue to advise and speak for financial organizations globally as well, traders. So that's who I am. This is a very quick article written on me when I gave the first inaugural speech at this organization back in, I believe, back in 2000. Here is Barron's ranking me and my work through my organization, the number one ranked service for professional traders in the United States. This is a very quick snapshot of some of the books that I have written on the topic of trading the markets for a living. 5 different languages. And uh, in order to take a look at any of those books, obviously you can go right to Amazon.com and search Oliver Velez books. Okay, guys, before I delve into the material, I do want you to know that you can reach out to me and follow my day-to-day work on my social media outlets. The most important, I believe, is my YouTube channel, Oliver Velez Trading. It is one of the fastest growing trading channels on YouTube. There are close to 200,000 people who receive a daily piece of educational content from me every single day, 365 days a year in 3 different languages, English, Spanish, and Portuguese. So I strongly encourage that you do that. Follow me at Oliver Velez Trading. Also, I put out daily content on my Instagram channel at olvelez007. So I want to see you there. Okay, guys, I want to actually bring you to my first foray, my first rodeo, my first dive into the Bitcoin audience. And I will be the first to let you know that I was not a Bitcoin fan. I was not a cryptocurrency fan. I had first become aware of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general back in 2016. I did manage to watch and witness the meteoric rise that Bitcoin had in 2017. And quite honestly, I stood back in awe, but still was not a fan. I became a fan basically in 2000, late 2019, and announced to my large following, announced to all of my traders in December of 2019 that 2020 would be the first year that I and we make a strong dive into Bitcoin. But I needed a specific moment. I needed an event to occur to make that first strike. And the collapse in worldwide markets in March of 2020 gave me my opportunity on specifically March 12th, Bitcoin, all right, dropped March 12th, 2020, which you see here. That is the image that marked my official alert to the world. Bitcoin buy alert. You can see it there in the circles. The date is March 12th. Bitcoin dropped in one day over 25%. I felt that that collapse gave me the perfect opportunity to start my long term accumulation of what I consider today to be the rarest asset in the world, and what I consider will not only is the best performing asset in the world, but will continue to be the best performing asset in the world over the next several decades. Now, every time I say that, people say, Oliver, come on, decades. But I want you to understand it. I want you to understand that I am not mincing words. I am here to tell you that Bitcoin will continue to outperform virtually every single thing you can think of in the financial markets, not for the next 10 years, not for the next 20 years, but for the next 30 to 40 years. Now, think about this, traders. Apple has been going up for what? 40 years? Amazon's been going up for what? Close to 30 years? All right. Why is it so strange that very high quality, pure assets that dominate their niche go up for multiple decades? The entire market's been going up for decades. Bond market's been going up for decades. The equity has been going up for how many decades? I mean, gold's been going up for how many thousands of years? 4,000 years, 5,000. Some people think even 6,000. So it is not strange that a baby asset that's only 12 years is not even in the first inning. And that's what I hope to convince you here today. So, here on March 12th, this is the publication that I sent out to the world, received by millions of people, traders. And I want to quickly read what I wrote here on March 12th. I have it underlined here. I says today was a huge trading day for me. I made $62,000. So I made a $62,000 gain in my trading. But that's not really what I want to bring my audience's attention to. I say today was huge for another reason as well, with Bitcoin falling over 25% today. Look at the date, March 12th, 2020. I bought between the prices of $5,770 and $5,900. All right. I'm actually hoping to go to buy for lower prices as it continues to decline. And Bitcoin did in fact go as low as 47, $4,800. And I continued to buy on the way down as well, all with my traders by my side. Now, today, this is a chart I just took just before I came on live with you. Today, Bitcoin's price is roughly $58,000, or at least at the point that I captured this image. It has reached a high of $6,230 or so, but it's currently trading at $58. Now, if you go back to the previous slide, you saw that we're getting in the between 4,800, between the high 4,000s and the high 5,000s. So it's quite natural for a trader to say, well, Oliver, look, you guys got in early. This is late for me, but it is not late. I would say that if we're talking about playing if we have a sports analogy and we're talking about going to a sporting event, which, like baseball, what inning are we in baseball? Baseball has 9 innings. I would say we're in the parking lot. We're not even in the stadium. We haven't even begun the game. That's how early I think we are in the macro picture. The other thing I want to let you know is that most people focus on the price, and this is a big mistake and will keep people out of this market. Bitcoin doesn't really have a price. This is looking through the eyes of the US dollar. Bitcoin has an age. So I want you to imagine Apple is 40 plus years old, but Bitcoin's 12 years old. I want you to imagine Amazon is 30 plus years old, Bitcoin's 12 years old. The US markets are decades upon decades, 100 years old, Bitcoin's 12 years old. I want you to understand that gold is 6,000 years old, or 5,000 years old, or 4,000 years old, depending upon the historian you want to pick. All right. Bitcoin's 12 years old. I want you to understand that Bitcoin doesn't have a price, it has an age. And if you have a favorite sports figure, I don't know, a favorite soccer player or a favorite basketball player who's at the top of their game. Imagine when they were 12 years old, and imagine saying that a 12-year-old LeBron James is finished. It's too late to invest in him at 12 years old. He's been phenomenal up until this point, but I'm too late. You'd be making a very, very big mistake. All right. Bitcoin doesn't have a price, it has an age. Don't forget that. Now, let me explain to you why you're not late, even though we're in 5,700, 5,900, 4,900, 4,800. Even though we're in at those prices, we continue to buy because I believe we're so early. And I buy this asset every single day of my life. My traders know this. I show them my buys every single day of my life. Let me explain to you why I continue to buy despite the fact that I got in so early as it relates to um, the year 2020. And as it relates to the price now, I want to tell you why I believe you're still not late and why I continue to buy each day. Now, I actually trade the financial markets. From those gains, I put 90% of it into Bitcoin and basically live off the 10%. That's how I put money into Bitcoin every single day. So I want you to take a look at this. This is by Documenting Bitcoin. Is a great Twitter account to follow if you become interested in Bitcoin. But Documenting Bitcoin says, look, how much would you now have if you had bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin on, go to the bottom, no, well, 2020. If you bought 1,000 last year, you'd have 10,600. That's 10 times. That's crazy. If you bought 1,000 in 2019, you'd have 14,000. Now go all the way down the line. Look at if you bought $1,000, what that would be if you had done that in 2016. What if you had done that in 2012? What if you had done that in the beginning at 2010? Now, these are astronomical numbers. $1,000 invested in 2010 would have you almost at $600,000. That's insane. I want you to take a look at these numbers. Scroll down from last year all the way to 10. This is a 10-year history or an 11-year history, let's say. But I'm here to tell you that despite how amazing these numbers look, I believe that the next 10 years are exponentially bigger. I believe that the first 10 years were just getting started. And the first 10 years produced a Bitcoin that has been the best performing asset in the entire history of the world. And I believe the next 10 years is going to at least triple the performance. The second leg, we've experienced the first leg. The second leg, this is a concept I teach my traders. The second move is the big one. It's not the first one. The first one might be impressive, but the second one statistically outperforms the first one. The second decade outperforms the first decade. If you pick any major winner in any category throughout financial history, you'll find that the second decade is exponentially greater than the first decade. Now, I want to talk to you why I believe Bitcoin is heading to $220,000 in roughly within a year, roughly, maybe slightly more, but more or less 12, 14 months or so. Okay. The reason number one, I believe that Bitcoin, which is now, I should change that. Bitcoin is a $1 trillion market. That should say a T right there. All right. So Bitcoin is a $1 trillion market. But I believe that this $1 trillion market is digital gold, which currently the analog gold, the normal gold market is, right? The normal gold market is 10 trillion. So Bitcoin has already risen to the point of being 1/10 of the gold market. I believe that with relative ease, this market will overtake the gold market. It is the digital form of gold. It's the newer version of gold. It conquers all the benefits or goes beyond all the benefits of traditional gold. It goes beyond those benefits and more. It is everything that gold is on steroids. It is every benefit that gold has, but in an exponential way. So if we just extrapolate, where is Bitcoin's price if it actually comes up to match gold's market from a $1 trillion market to a $10 trillion market? We're at $550,000 a coin. So just based on my theory that Bitcoin will first take gold out, which is basically rise to the point where it is equal to gold. I believe it's going to go far past gold's market, but let's take the first move. The first move is to match gold. And once it does that, it's a $10 trillion market. That brings the price to $550,000 a coin. And it's going to get there, traders. It's just a matter of time. It's going to get there. Okay. Now, I've shown you this image before, but it's a great image to show you. We are in the digital era. What does that mean? We're in the era where the digital version of whatever existed in analog form is dwarfing and completely taking over and dwarfing the analog version. So if you look at the upper left-hand corner, we have an analog phone. I searched this on Amazon. You can buy that phone for $37 to $40 today. Okay, that's an analog phone. Do you remember those? You remember the phones that were in your home hanging on the wall with the long cord, and the cord would get all tangled and you pulled the phone off of the wall and you had to fight with the cord to actually be able to get away from the wall. That's the analog version of the phone. Well, today's ultimate digital replacement is the iPhone. Now look at the price, $37, $38 for an analog phone, $1,400 for the top digital phone. Now, It's not that the digital phone rose to match the analog phone. The digital version didn't come up to be $40. It dwarfed the price of $40. It dwarfed the price of an analog phone even when they were selling for much higher. What, $200, $100, $80? See, the digital version just doesn't come up to match the analog version. It exponentially dwarfs the analog version. There are other examples of digital replacements of the analog version. Some of you remember Blockbuster Video. Well, Netflix is the digital version of Blockbuster Video. How much was Blockbuster Video, which is now bankrupt? How much were they at their peak in value? And what's the value of the digital replacement of Blockbuster? Netflix. There is much exponentially higher, much bigger. The digital or the analog version of sending mail used to be the letter you wrote and you put it in an envelope and you licked the disgusting glue and you licked the disgusting glue on a stamp and put a stamp on the letter and wrote the address and mailed it in the mail. That's the analog version of mail. Well, what's the digital version of that today? Gmail? Email? What's bigger, sending letters, or is it exponentially bigger? Are there more, is there much more mail going over the digital network email? It's not even close. The digital version dwarfs the analog version. And I can go on and on and on with these examples. The point I want you to understand is that Bitcoin is the digital version of gold. It is the replacement for gold. It is the improvement on gold. And we are in an era that is digitizing everything. Even our reserve banks around the world are moving toward digitizing their currencies. We have digitized our photos. Do you remember when you had to go buy film at the drugstore and you had a portable camera? You put the specific film in your camera and then you took it to a place to get developed. That's the analog version of photos. And remember, you would get the photos back and put them in your album and organize the pictures and label them in an album. And then you'd bore your relatives that came over to visit you and you'd pull out like 8 different albums and your relatives had to sit there and flip through the albums. That's the analog version of photos. Well, what do you do with your photos now? You flip open your iPhone or you flip open your iPad or whatever, and you flip through the digitized versions of your photos. And how many more photos do you have on your smartphone versus in your albums stacked in the basement somewhere? The digital version dwarfs the analog version. And I am telling you that means that Bitcoin is not just going to rise to a $10 trillion market. That would be coming equal with its analog version. It's going to dwarf that. Bitcoin will ultimately, in my opinion, go to be a $20 trillion market and potentially a $100 trillion market. It's not going to stop at its analog version. But remember, even if it just comes halfway to matching its analog version, we have my price target for next year, $220,000. You see, coming up to the gold market puts it at $550,000 a coin. Coming halfway up there, which I believe we will be there by next year, puts us at $220,000 a coin. Now, I just took a snapshot of this. This is ranking the entire world's asset by market cap. Now, look at this. Gold, for being a 12-year-old baby, gold has reached $1 trillion status faster than any asset ever in the history of mankind. And if you look at what's above it in terms of value, you have gold at the top, which they're saying is 11 trillion. You have Apple, which is 2 trillion. You have the Saudi oil company at 1.8, Microsoft at 1.7. But think about this. It took Apple 40 years to become a $1 trillion market. It took Bitcoin 12 years. It took Microsoft 48 years to become a $1 trillion market asset. It took Bitcoin 12 years. Okay. And so it took Google, what, 25 years, 28, 27 years to become a $1 trillion asset. It took Bitcoin 12 years. Imagine when Bitcoin is 40 years. Imagine when Bitcoin is 25 years. It's just starting. And if you look at the other two items aren't companies. That's gold and silver. Okay. Now, what if you take gold and silver out? This means that Bitcoin is the sixth largest company or monetary network of some type, financial network in the entire history of the world. It's number 6. And I am telling you, it's coming for Google. That should happen by next month. It's coming for Amazon, which should happen by next month. My anticipation is that in April, Bitcoin will be above Google and Amazon and potentially Microsoft. Mark my words. Bitcoin is coming for gold, and it is going to overtake it. I'm just giving you the halfway mark target of $220,000 a coin. We've got a long way to go, traders. All right. We're on our way. Take a look. Look at these numbers, guys. This is December, 3 months ago, less than 3 months ago. December's close, 28,900. January's close, 33,000. Can you hear the footsteps, gold? Gold, can you hear footsteps behind you? I can. February's close, 45,000. March today, 58,000. What do you think April's going to be? And May and June? Google, go back. Google, you're gone. Okay? Amazon, you too. I'm giving you 2 months. 2 months, Google and Amazon's going to be under Bitcoin. Mark my words, you heard it here first. Okay, now here's my technical view. I call it my secret. Guys, I have been technically charting and trading from those technicals for the vast majority of my professional career, 30 plus years, over 3 decades. And I believe that I'm one of the best at it. My technical view is that we are headed to $100,000 per coin. August, I think we're there by August. And I think that's conservative. Okay. But I will tell you that when I did this chart, we were here, traders. We were here. How much time do I have, by the way? I want to make sure I don't go over.
Oliver,
Mhm.
hi, you have about 2 minutes.
Oh, I have 2 minutes. Okay. Here's where we are, traders. Right here. We're still early. We've got several cycles to go for this 300 here, but I believe that we're here around this $100,000 mark. I believe that we're here right now by August. So I want you all prepared for that. Now, if you go back on the Money Show's website, right, and you look at my speech about Bitcoin in December, and if you followed me then, you would be up over 100%, right? So I don't want you to miss this message. Please, please do not do that. I keep looking at my camera up here, but my camera's there. All right, Bitcoin is in the supply crisis, guys. This chart shows that the green at the top shows liquidity declining. So the available Bitcoin is becoming less and less. Okay, look at that green go from big to the left all the way down. It's very little supply. Okay. And look at the decreasing liquidity supply as measured by the red. All right. It's decreasing. The supply is decreasing. We're in a supply crisis. Guys, look, there's only 900 Bitcoin being mined per day, 900 new per day. Okay. PayPal, Square, MicroStrategy, and Tesla already bought 66% of the annual supply. That's 4 firms. What about all the other firms that are starting to buy now? Banks will become custodians. The biggest custodial bank in the entire world, BYN Mellon, has $49 trillion in assets. Their customers, their clients that own that $49 trillion have demanded that they provide Bitcoin, make Bitcoin available to them. So Bitcoin to come to America's oldest bank and the world's largest custodian. Why do you think that is? Come on, we're here before them. This is just getting started. Here are my targets, guys. $65,000 in the beginning of April. Okay. This was my last target. 65,000 the beginning of April this year. We're at 58,000. 85,000 by June or so. 108,000 by August. 220,000 by June. I want you to hold me to these numbers. And I believe these numbers are potentially conservative. We need a new balance, guys. I want you to join me with this, guys. I guide my traders every single day on this path. I have made hundreds, I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people change their lives, become wealthy, become financially independent. Those who've been following me for the past 10 years are set for life. Okay. And guys, look, this is not this, I have skin in the game. All right. I've shown you our initial forays into this. This is pictures from just 2 of my accounts today. I have 9 individual accounts, right? It's 2 of my accounts. My traders follow my accounts. I'm about 12 on the left. It's $12,000 just today in one account. And over the last month in this other account, I'm up $290,000 in 30 days. Now, I show every single buy, every single act, and I explain the reason why. My traders follow me. These are their gains as well. Maybe not from a numerical point of view, but these percentages are their gains. This is 1 month gain on the right, 1 day gain on the left. Guys, you can do this. And it's not just Bitcoin, it's stocks. Look at the date here, March 9th. I'm calling Oxy, Occidental Petroleum. Look at it today. It's more than doubled. On March 9th, I'm calling for us to buy Wynn Resorts, right? Okay, it's trading at $40. Where is it today? $138. On March 18th, I'm calling for us to buy Hilton, the hotel chain. Where is it? Where is Hilton? Where is Hilton then? $55. Now it's $127. I called for Carnival Cruise Line on April 17th. Carnival Cruise Line was $12. Where did it hit? $30 and still going. It's Exxon at $30. Now it's $60. Guys, it's not just Bitcoin. We play the world's financial markets, but Bitcoin is a very, very important piece of that. I want you to join me, guys. It's $4,000 for life. All right. But for you, you're very special. It's 50% off, one price for the rest of your life. I'm with you every day. We do this side by side. I show you every single move I make. We make these moves together. We investigate together. We study together. This is one trade. And then you have the rest of your life in front of you. We'll take this journey together. I want to see you there, guys. ifundtraders.com if you're interested. I also want to invite you to my talk tomorrow, where I delve into how to jumpstart a professional trading career with practically $0. I want you here tomorrow. I'll see you then. Thank you very much.